Alright, discussion has been recording. Good morning, everybody. So, we will be tackling today the business continuity management or the fourth unit in business process outsourcing. On the coverage of our midterms, yung mga discussions na napagdaanan natin, we talked about what outsourcing for, ano yung importance ng outsourcing, ano ba yung outsourcing, ano ba yung mga klase ng trabaho na ina-outsource. We also talk about different types of frameworks used by the businesses in order for them to continue their operations. Yun din yung mga napag-usapan natin. And today, ang sole focus natin sa discussion natin is what are the things that the business could do when they face trials. Now, what are the things that the business could do when they face hardships in terms of kakulangan ng finances, in terms of disaster, kung merong ma-experience na calamities, ano yung mga dapat gawin na processes ng business for them to be able to continue operating despite experiencing hardships. So, yun yung pag-uusapan natin today. To be specific, this is the learning objective of this lesson. So, there are 4 main points that you should understand at the end of this lesson. So, first is to understand business continuity management and its importance. Second is to discuss the business continuity management framework or BCM framework. Third is to explain what risk assessment is. Fourth is explain the difference of business continuity and disaster recovery. So, some terms here are very much easy to understand because like basic terms lang naman siya, like risk assessment. Narinig na natin yan sa iba't ibang business subjects, and I'm very sure na meron kayong mga subjects na nahapyawan na yung thought about risk management or risk assessment. However, dito sa business process outsourcing, dahil nga yung thought na ang mga processes na ginagawa ng isang outsource companies ay sila ang third party, ibig sabihin gumagawa sila ng trabaho hindi para sa sarili nilang kumpanya kundi para sa iba. Kaya dapat ay meron silang mga paraan kung paano mapapabilis yung processes whenever they experience hardships nga, kagaya na sinasabi ko kanina. So let's first talk about the definition of business continuity management. Now, according to the presentation, BCM is about the advanced planning and preparation of an organization to maintaining business functions or quickly resuming after a disaster has occurred. So, sa madaling salita po, when we talk about BCM, yun po yung literal na pag-iisip ng plano, na kung saan ay dapat ang mga businesses ay nagpe-prepare para ma-maintain nila yung kanilang operations despite experiencing disasters or calamities. Sa cases natin dito sa Pilipinas, yung settings natin sa Pilipinas, a lot of businesses, they feel shocked. Nasashock sila whenever they experience disaster, yet hindi nila alam kung paano mag-ooperate agad. Because they are not well known about the idea of business continuity management. Kasi, tingnan man natin sa kahit saang angle, kapag nagnegosyo ka kasi, ang goal lang naman ng negosyo ay to earn profit. Tama po ba? Yan naman talaga yung number 1 goal ng mga taong nagnenegosyo, para kumita. And they do not think of some other details that could interrupt the business operations, kagaya nga ng pagkakaroon ng disaster or pag-experience ng calamities. And with this, with business continuity management, mas napapaghandaan ng mga negosyo yung mga possible na mga trahedya na ma-experience nila, and ano yung mga dapat nilang gawin to overarch those disasters that they might face in the future. So, tatandaan nyo lang na malaki yung difference ng business continuity management sa framework, kasi later on i-discuss ko ano yung framework, BCM framework, at ano yung difference niya sa BCM. But if you could remember just one thing about business continuity management, Ang lagi nyo lang tatandaan ay yun yung idea ng pagpaplano. We are just thinking, no? Thinking pa lang, nasa isip pa lang na tayo ay magpaplano at magpe-prepare, no, para sa kahandaan, no, ng negosyo kapag naka-experience sila ng disaster. Nagigets po, everyone? Is it clear? Yan, thank you. Yan, so there are lots of advantages, no, of having business continuity management. Marami naman talagang purpose at maganda ang pwedeng kahinatnan, no, kapag ang negosyo ay naghahanda ng kanilang business continuity management, no. So in this case, no, may binigay sa atin na tatlo, no, na advantage ng BCM. So unang-una dyan is the business can return to productive operations quickly after disruption or failure of your business process. No, just like what I've said, whenever they face disasters, calamities, as long as you are well equipped and prepared before the disaster might happen, mas mabilis kang makaka-bounce back dun sa operations na ginagawa mo as a business owner. Ngayon, yung unang advantage. Second thing is, this is an effective way to lower follow-up costs and create a risk management system that provides legal certainty. In this case, no, ilagay na lang natin kuwari sa settings ng bahay. No, kunwari, si Pauline ay magtatayo pa lang ng sariling bahay. So, unang-una natin kino-consider, di ba, sa pagtatayo ng bahay, yung katibayan ng bahay. No, para kung meron mang bagyong dumaan, lindol, or kung ano pa mang mga calamities na hindi naman natin ginusto, we still might feel safe, no? Kasi ginastusan natin yung bahay for the sake of it to be safe. No, so kung ilalagay natin sa business context, dahil nga naghanda tayo ng mas maaga, kahit hindi pa naman nangyayari or hindi naman natin alam kung kailan mangyayari yung mga disaster and calamity nga na sinasabi natin, it might result to cost reduction, no, on the latter part, no, ng business operations. Kasi imagine na paghandaan mo na may darating na big one, wari lang, malakas daw na lindol, alam mo na bago pa man din maka-experience ng lindol yung lugar, no, kung saan nakatayo yung negosyo mo, earthquake proof na yung pinatayo mong building. So ibig sabihin, you are already ready even if that disaster is not yet happening. So, mentras tayong gumasto sa umpisa, gano'n naman talaga kahit sa buhay. Pag nag-invest ka on the beginning, meron kang earnings on the end. Kapag nag-invest ka ngayon ng gusto, pa pwedeng lumiit na yung gastos mo sa susunod. Gano'n kasi ang context, or gano'n ang nature talaga ng negosyo. Kaya nga lagi natin sinasabi na hindi madaling mabalik yung ROI, return of investment, kasi babagsakan mo, lalaanan mo talaga ng malalang pera sa umpisa, yet makikita mo naman yung result sa dulo na effective yung ginastusan mo nung una. No, so ganon din dito sa business continuity management. It could lower the follow-up cost, it could lower the expenses, no, that the business could incur kung sakali man na maka-experience sila ng mga ganun nga klaseng calamities kasi napaghandaan na nila at the beginning. So that is the second advantage. And third is, you could gain a considerable competitive edge. Now, imagine niyo na lang, hypothetically speaking, we experience super typhoon from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Yet, the businesses from Visayas and Mindanao ay hindi agad sila nakapag-operate quickly. For example, yung mga private hospitals, private clinics, mga salon, kasi wala silang BCM, wala silang business continuity management. Hindi agad sila naka-bounce back doon sa experience na-experience nila dahil nga nagkaroon ng calamity or nagkaroon ng super typhoon. Yet yung mga nasa Luzon, it is easy for us to operate or resume right away. Bakit? Kasi mas napaghandaan. Kasi merong continuity management na ginawa yung mga businesses. No, and in that case, you are having competitive edge. No, kasi mentras kang handa, mas kaya mo. No, mas kaya mong ibigay yung needs and wants ng consumers compared to those businesses na yes, nag-operate, pero nung naka-experience ng disaster, ang tagal bago nakabalik. No, so it is an edge. Nagigets ko yung tatlong advantage, yung differences ng tatlong advantage. Everyone. Like, meron na ba kayong na-experience na ganyan na parang may kilala kayong negosyo or may nakita kayong negosyo na kahit na yung mga maliliit lang, para yung malapit sa inyo. Noon na nagkabagyo lang, parang 2 weeks, 3 weeks bago sila nakapagbukas agad. May experience na ba kayong ganun? Kasi ako personally, meron eh. Sa tagal ko nang nabubuhay sa mundo, parang ang daming negosyong ganun na parang nagkaulan lang ng 1 week. Tapos, after a week usually or commonly after a week of super typhoon or storm, nakaka-bounce back naman agad yung mga business. Yet meron akong mga negosyong napansin na parang sobrang lala nung nangyari dun sa pwesto, sobrang lala nung nangyari dun sa mga stock, sa inventory, na dahil nga hindi nila masyadong napaghandaan yung calamity na dumating, talagang na-disrupt yung kanilang operations. No? May mga ganun talaga. And at least ngayon, no, on your end, as professionals in the future of business world, naiintindihan nyo na excuse me, na kapag nagbukas ka ng negosyo, hindi lang dapat to earn profit pala yung iisipin. Pati pala yung mga ganitong specifics kailangan nating pag-isipan. So I hope that is clear on your end, these 3 advantages. So if you have business continuity management, it is easy for you to resume your operations quickly. It could lower the follow-up cost and you will gain a considerable competitive advantage or edge. So, ngayon, pag-uusapan na natin, ano ba yung BCM framework? Sabi natin kanina, when we talk about business continuity management, it is a advanced planning. Advanced planning. So, overarching pa. Nasa isip natin na tayo ay magpaplano ng mga preparasyon na gagawin para pag naka-experience tayo ng disaster, handa tayo. Yung BCM framework naman, or Business Continuity Framework, literally, we are outlining, we are writing the planning process for developing prior arrangements and procedures to enable organization to respond to an event in a such manner that critical business functions can continue within planned levels of disruption. So, pag sinabi nating BCM framework, literal na na-outline na natin yung plano. Na isulat na natin yung plano, isinapapel na natin yung plano para alam natin kung ano yung mga processes na gagawin natin kung sakali man na maka-experience na tayo ng disaster or calamity. Kanina kasi dun sa BCM, magpaplano pa lang. BCM framework, isinulat na natin yung plano sa papel. Yun yung difference nilang dalawa. Hindi ko naman sinasabing shallow yung idea na meron kang business continuity management pero wala kang BCM framework. Because in some cases, meron tayong mga instincts and guts. Tayong mga tao na pag alam natin ito yung possible na pwedeng gawin pag nangyari isang disaster, nasa isip lang natin. Hindi naman natin isinasa papel. Kunwari ako, alam ko naman yung mga dapat gawin pag lumilindol, pero hindi ko naman siya in-outline. Hindi ko naman siya sinulat. Hindi ko naman siya nilegalize into paper. Pero on the context of business, it is very much important for them to outline everything kasi madaming operations. Pangalanan natin, ilan nga yung department sa isang negosyo, napakadami. Sa iba't iba rin yung paraan kung paano maapektuhan yung bawat processes na meron sila or yung bawat operations na meron sila. Kung paano maapektuhan ng finance department kapag nagkaroon ng bagyo, iba sa kung paano maapektuhan ang marketing, iba kung paano maapektuhan ang operations. Kaya, iba-iba, yung dapat na planong ginagawa sa bawat department na yan at isinusulat natin siya through creating a BCM framework. Nagigets po, everyone? Nagigets po ba ako? Medyo nalilito na. Yan. So, yun. Ang ibig ko lang sabihin dito, mga anak, sa BCM framework is we are outlining, writing, no, the plans that we are thinking of as part of our business continuity management. Sinusulat na po natin yung proseso. And sa pagsusulat po ng framework, no, for business continuity management, we should consider 5 things. No, meron po tayong 5 bagay na i-consider kapag tayo ay nagsulat, no, ng BCM framework. No, these are the things. No, or these are the things that we should consider when we are writing a BCM framework. First is the policies and strategies. Second is the business impact assessment. Third is risk assessment. Fourth is validation and testing. And fifth is incident identification. So we will discuss each thoroughly. Anong differences nila? Anong importance nila? Bakit kailangan laman sila ng isang business continuity management? No, so umpisahan natin. Policies and strategies. Bago ko i-next slide. Sa tingin nyo, bakit importante? Bakit importante, no, na makapagsulat tayo ng maayos na policies and strategies in relation to business continuity management? Any idea? Alam niyo yung term na policies and strategies. Pero sa tingin niyo, bakit siya importante, no, kapag nagsusulat tayo ng BCM framework? Everyone? Lahat ng sasagot dito, bibigyan ko ng incentives, no, sa grade. Siyempre, hindi pwedeng wala lang. Yes, Pao?
X squared dx minus x squared multiplied by 2x minus ano yung y natin? Dx.
Yan. Thank you, Pao. Ganda yung sagot niya. Na punto, do's and don'ts, no, nabanggit. Sabi naman ni King, para po may guide. Ayan, good thing. Yes, may additional ka pa, Pao, bago ko ibigay kay Deo yung mic.
So, paano na natin yan?
Hearing none. No? So, baka magsagot na lang si Pao sa in-call message. Yes, Deo. May additional pa tayo.
X squared plus b squared x squared dx.
Alright. Thank you. So, tama. No, yung mga sagot ninyo. In relation to policies and strategies. Yes, yan. Baka may additional pa si Paul. No, bago ako mag-wrap up. Yes, Paul.
So, multiply by 2x, multiply by x squared is 2x cubed minus
Ayan.
bx cubed. Then, b dx plus x dv is equal to 0. Again,
Good. Yan. Nabanggit din yung word na alignment. And lastly kay Kevin. Ayan. Tapos later, ask ulit ako dun sa ibang students. Yes, Kevin.
b dx. Multiply this one to this is b squared x
Yun.
cubed dx.
Sige, tapusin muna natin kay Adam. Last na si Adam.
X cubed dx minus ito naman 2x cubed dx is going to be negative 2x 2b x cubed dx ito minus dito magiging positive b squared x cubed dx. Hello, nakasunod kayo, class? So, dito nga this one, dito naman sa bar sa term na to, x times x cubed at x cubed magiging negative 2x by 2.
Alright. Yan. Thank you, Adam. So, magaganda yung mga sagot ng mga anak. No? Nabanggit kanina ni, baka hindi ko isa-isa, no? Pero nabanggit kanina na do's and don'ts. No? Things that we should consider kasi nga may policies and strategies tayong naisusulat. Nabanggit din dito na may guide tayo. No? Na nabanggit nyo rin na ito yung mga magiging paraan para sundan natin. No? Para maging gabay natin kung paano tayo makaka-bounce back, no, kapag tayo ay naka-experience ng calamities, no, kahit hindi natin gustuhin. No. So, lahat ng sagot ng mga anak ay tama at related, no, sa policies and strategies. No. Pero ibigay natin yung definition. No. So, sabi dito sa policies and strategies, The policy defines the program scope, key parties, and management structure. It needs to articulate why business continuity is necessary and governance is critical in this phase. So, as part of conducting or creating a policies and strategies, it will give us superiority. In what ways? No, bakit ko sinabi magbibigay ng superiority? No, kung lahat ng mga empleyado ay aware na may policies and strategies, kahit sino pa man din ang nandun sa sitwasyon na yun, alam nila na meron silang susunding bagay. And when we talk about superiority, ganun eh. Parang may nagli-lead, parang may nasusunod. And kung may policies and strategies na malinaw na naisulat, sabi nga dyan, it needs to be articulate why business continuity is necessary. Importante siyang maisulat. Lalong higit kung ang rason ay business continuity. Kasi hindi natin alam, hindi natin kontrolado no, kung kailan natin ma-experience ang calamities, ang disasters. Yet, all of us should be aware that there is a certain policies and strategies that we should follow. Kasi sabi nga dyan, governance is critical in this phase. No, so kung sa klase nyo, si Jaslea ang mayor, naka-experience kayo ng matinding paglindol, wag naman sana. Hindi naman tatayo na si Jaslea bilang mayor nyo eh. Kasi lahat kayong iisipin nyo na lang salbahin ng mga sarili nyo. Pero kung may malinaw na policies and strategies, alam nyo kung saan kayo pupunta. O nag-earthquake drill tayo, sinasabi natin na, eto, sa phase A, dito sa phase A, dapat nandito yung mga estudyante. Sa parking space B, nandito dapat yung mga teachers. That is policies and strategies. Malinaw. No, malinaw na program scope, key parties, and management structure. Kahit na walang nagre-regulate at walang nag-go-govern, alam natin kung ano yung dapat nating sundin. Nabanggit kanina yung do's and don'ts, nabanggit kanina yung guidance. Lahat siya ay anchored. No, kasi, once again, when we experience disasters or calamities, the only thing that we could think is to save ourselves. Kahit nga mismo yung computer mo eh, sa trabaho, hindi mo na maiisip yan pag may kalamidad. Not unless yung sunog. Iba kasi yung aftermath ng sunog eh, comparing sa bagyo at sa what do you call this, bagyo at lindol. Some of the equipments might still be there. Pag sunog kasi iba. And in that case, ibang klaseng business continuity management, ibang klaseng policies and strategies ulit yung isusulat. No, so, yun yung pinakaunang importanteng laman dapat ng BCM framework. Malinaw na policies and strategies, kailangan mas ma-articulate ng maayos kasi importante na may business continuity dahil ang governance sa panahon ng kalamidad ay nawawala, ay critical. No, yun po yung una. And thank you for those students who shared their thoughts and answers. No, tama lahat ng sagot ninyo mga anak. No, so, in creating policies and strategies, there are 3 things that we should consider. 3 things sa pagsusulat. Now, una dyan is knowing who is responsible for the creation and modification of a business continuity plan. Kailangan daw malaman natin sino ang responsible sa pagsusulat at sino ang responsible sa pagbibigay ng recommendations, suggestions, revision doon sa business continuity plan. Kung ikaw ay parte ng isang institusyon at ikaw ay nasa top level management, automatically you are responsible. Kasi kung ikaw ay nasa top level management, anchored mo lahat ng empleyado. Nasa taas ka, kailangan nakikita mo lahat ng nasa ilalim. Kapag ikaw naman ay nasa middle level manager, you should have participation. Kung paano nagpaplano yung mga boss, ikaw kasi nakakakita sa mga nasa ilalim, ikaw yung taga-report sa taas. Dapat meron kang involvement. Yung mga nasa baba, hindi naman natin sinasawalang bahala, pero sa brainstorming, dapat kasama pa rin. No, ang mga low-level management or low-level management staffs, mga office staffs, production, yung mga security, Ang security, nasa low level yan. Yet kapag panahon ng kalamidad, sila ang nagre-responde sa atin. Diba? Parang ang baba ng tingin natin sa mga nasa security, nasa utility. Yet, on the moment of experiencing disasters and calamity, they are the ones who will save us. Kahit na mas mataas tayo sa kanila. So, unang-una daw dapat alam natin kung sino yung responsible sa paggawa at pagmamodify ng business continuity plan. Pangalawa, scope or nilalaman. Sabi dito, whether it's revenue-generating components of the company, external-facing aspects, or some other subset of the total organization. Ang laman daw dapat ng policies and strategies na sinusulat. Siyempre, related pa rin sa kung paano kikita yung negosyo at maging yung nasa labas. Nasa labas, ibig sabihin, exterior, pwedeng building, pwedeng mga relationship partners outside, suppliers. No, kasi kapag dumating ang panahon ng kalamidad at nagkaroon ng disruption, paghinto sa operations ng isang negosyo, apektado yan kahit nasa labas sila. So dapat nakakapaggawa ng mga polisiya at strategiya na related pa rin kahit sila ay nasa labas at hindi sila parte ng internal management. Ayun yung sinasabi sa scope. Nasa loob, revenue generating components, or even nasa labas, external facing aspects, or some other subset of the total organization. And third is roles and responsibilities. So, di ba sabi ko nga kanina, governance is critical on this phase. Pero bakit may roles and responsibilities pa rin? So, kung ilalagay natin sa layman's term, kagaya ng binanggit ko kanina, you will just save yourself when you experience disruption, disasters, calamities. Pero kung ikaw ay ilaw ng tahanan at haligi ng tahanan, kung nanay at tatay ka, bukod sa ililigtas mo yung sarili mo, ililigtas mo rin mga anak mo eh. Internal, instincts, maternal instincts, paternal instincts. So, in the case of business settings, may ganun din. Diba may mga selfless managers, may mga selfless na boss, na heads, na kahit na alam nilang delikado sila, pero kung ikakaligtas ng mga kasama nila, gagawin pa rin nila. Kasi maaaring naisulat sa policies and strategies na sila yung responsible dun sa paggawa ng specific na pag-save na yon. Like for example, co-team leader, para sabihin natin sa klase, team leader niya si Jazz, tapos nagkaroon ng lindol, naipit si Paul sa pinto. Concern yan si Jazz kasi mayor niyo siya eh. No, kahit na hindi niya alam yung gagawin, paano ko tutulungan si Paul na ipit yung paa, nabagsakan ng pader? Ano yung gagawin ko? Si Jazz nangangatog, kuya, tulungan niyo po, pumunta sa door, tulungan niyo po yung kaklase ko po, na ano po. Diba? Parang automatically, you knew na ikaw yung responsible, na mag-relay ng message na yun, kasi kaklase mo yun, nasasakupan mo yun. So, in business, ganun din. Kung sinong nasasakupan mo, dahil nga nasasakupan mo sila, may authority ka sa kanila at responsible ka sa kanila. Na isusulat iyon sa policies and strategies na kapag sinabi, si General Manager of Operations should be the one checking of the office after the disruption or after the disaster. So, ibig sabihin, si General Manager ng specific office, responsibilidad niya na i-check yung opisina pagkatapos ng lindol. Kasi sinabi sa policies and strategies na siya yung gagawa nun. Parang ganun siya. So, once again, in creating policies and strategies, there are three main things that we should consider. First is to know who is responsible of creating and modifying the business continuity plan. Second is the scope, whenever or whether it is about income generating or revenue generating components as part of the internal factor and even on the external. kailangan makapagsulat tayo ng mga policies and strategies about them. And third is, specify na what are the roles and responsibilities that the employees should do when they face disasters. Through creation of a good policies and strategies, everything will went smoothly. Kapag maniwala kayo sa hindi, ang business or ang organization nagiging toxic yan kapag ang mga tao ay hindi na sumusunod sa policies and strategies. Pero kung naka-align sa iisang polisiya at strategiya ang lahat ng empleyado ng isang kumpanya, 100% I could say na smooth sailing ang operations basta lahat ay good follower. So, tandaan nyo yun mga anak. So, that is the first component of the BCM framework, the policies and strategies. Nagigets po, everyone? Nagigets po yung una? Ayan. Thank you. Ayan. Next is business impact assessment. So, baka unfamiliar kayo. I will ask questions later on. I will first discuss this. The business impact assessment. Sabi dito, a business impact assessment is a cataloging process to identify the data your company holds, where it's stored, how it's collected, and how it's accessed. So, this could be related to business analytics. Business impact assessment, dito natin inaalam kung saan nakalagay yung mga data na meron ng business, paano siya tinatabi, paano siya kinokolekta, at paano siya gagalawin. Bakit ka mo importante pa yung data ng business? Balikan natin yung nature ng business analytics. We have millions of data that we gather every single day kapag nag-ooperate ang negosyo. Lahat ng data na yun ay raw. Ginagawa natin, ini-store natin, kino-curate natin. Pagkatapos natin ilagay sa library of data, kinukuha lang natin kung ano yung mga data na kailangan natin sa isang specific na operation. Pero meron tayong pinaglalagyan, pinagtatabihan. It could be in the form of big data, yung mga malalaking computer, or it could be in the form of archive, lalagyanan ng mga printed na mga printed na mga documents. So, bakit siya importante na maging parte ng Business Continuity Management Framework? Sabi dito, there are two main things kung bakit kinakailangan pang isama yung Business Impact Assessment. So, tandaan nyo lang kapag sinabi natin Business Impact Assessment, cataloging process to identify the data. Pag sinabi natin kinakatalog, kung sa library, pinaghihiwa-hiwalay natin. Kung ito ay science fiction, ito ay non-fiction, ito ay Filipiniana section, pinaghihiwa-hiwalay natin. Ganon din ang data sa business. Two main things. Bakit siya importante? Una, calculate your recovery time objective. Kailangan daw natatansya natin, kalkulado natin ang recovery time objective. So, ano nga ba yung recovery time objective? Sabi dito, which is the maximum time it would take to restore application to a functional state in the case of a sudden loss of service. Down ng system. Kailangan kalkulado natin yan. Hanggang kailan? Kapag naka-experience tayo ng biglaang shutdown, like for example, nagkaroon ng matinding ulan, nag-shutdown lahat ng kuryente, nag-brown out. Pag bumalik yung kuryente, gaano katagal? Bago natin maibalik sa ayos yung mga data na naka-embed sa bawat computer. Pwede bang sabihin natin na after 30 minutes of electricity shutdown, makakabalik na tayo sa operations kasi okay na, naipasok na ulit yung mga data sa computer? Pwede ba nating sabihin na isang oras, kapag nagkaroon ng brownout, isang oras, makakabalik na kayo sa operations? Paano mo nasabi? Siyempre, dapat meron kang policies and strategies na ginagawa, diba? Kasi nga, in the instance of disasters and calamity, we might experience a sudden loss of what? Pwedeng sudden loss of water, sudden loss of internet, sudden loss of electricity. In the worst case, baka hindi sudden. baka mawala na talaga. Kasi biglang, like for example, nasira yung linya ng kuryente sa labas, na apektuhan yung kuryente ng kumpanya. It will not take 1 hour no, para makabalik ka sa operations kasi sira yung kable ng kuryente. So dapat, you know, you are able to say na na-calculate mo yung recovery time objective or what is the maximum time it would take you to restore everything to be functional again. Kaya importante na alam pa rin natin no, yung data, paano siya na-i-store, paano siya na-access, kasi parte pa rin siya ng operations. No, that is the first thing. Putol-putol ba? Like even sa iba, baka mabagal yung internet ko. Sorry. How about now? Is it still logging? Sa earphones po yata. Alright. Sige. Magpapalit ako ng earphones for a minute. Wait lang. Nalalobat na ako.
Okay, so dito class, so bigyan natin ang voice. So, screen DX test. Pagiging open screen, plus DX1, plus voice screen. So, ngayon, ito sa, ako din ito sa bigyan natin, ito yung M natin, ito yung M. So, ano mas madali dito? Yung bigyan natin. Ba yung M? Tama? Yung O? Diba? Pwede natin itong yung gamitin. Kung medyo mas madali. Okay, so use N. Ang N natin is X.
Hello. Putol-putol pa ba?
Tama?
Hindi na ako nagpalit eh. Nag-charge lang ako ng device. Clear na ba? Or still medyo lalapit ko na lang yung microphone. Kasi medyo malayo kanina. So, igaganto ko na lang. Kasi hindi ko makonect yung AirPods ko dun sa laptop. Nakakonect sa phone ko. So sorry. Ayan. But I do hope na loud and clear na ako sa inyo. Medyo ngungunga lang. Pero, ayan. Sana naririnig na. Ayan. So, going back dun sa discussion, just like what I've said, we should calculate na the recovery time objective or the maximum time that it would take us, businesses, to recover and restore everything if we experience sudden loss of service. Now, second thing about business impact assessment is the recovery point objective. So, kung kanina recovery time, oras, ang pinag-uusapan natin, meron din tayo tinatawag na recovery point objective. Now, so, ano naman yung recovery point objective? Now, sinasabi dito sa recovery point objective that the age of data that would be acceptable for customers in your company to resume operations. Now, so, anong ibig sabihin ng age of data? Kung i-relate natin mga anak sa business analytics, no, di ba sinasabi natin doon na we still need historical data. The data that we had on the previous years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even if we do not use the data from that years ago, in some ways, kakailanganin pa rin natin siya. Hindi man natin alam kung kailan, excuse me, hindi natin alam kung kailan at kung saan natin gagamitin. But time will come that we can still use it, those data that we have on the previous years. No, so, kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung business continuity management, there are some data that are not acceptable anymore dahil it is too old. Na like for example, sa case natin kuwari sa BSU. So, the data that we have starting from hypothetically lang, 1950s, pare, doon nag-start nag-operate yung BSU. 1950s. Hindi natin pwedeng itapon yung data na yun kasi data ng estudyante. Time will come that the student will get their credentials, they will get their transcript of records, and in this case, hindi natin siya pwedeng i-dispose. Kahit sabihin mong 19 kopong-kopong pa kasi that is student data. But then again, kung nagkakaroon tayo ngayon ng changes sa portal, sa tingin nyo ba mas tamang una nating isip yung 1950s comparing sa today's data? Kasi ano bang kailangan natin today? Data ng mga estudyante ngayon. So, ang kailangan nating makuha, ma-recover, ay data ng mga bata from early years lang, 2015 up to the present. Yun muna, yung i-retrieve, yung i-recover dun sa lumang portal, sa bagong portal. Kasi yung 2015 up to 2025 data, yun yung mas kailangan natin ngayon compared dun sa 1955 na data. Nagigets niyo ako, everybody? So, may mga ganong cases tayo sa business. No, that there are some data that is too old to be used and not that important anymore. May mga acceptable na age of data na nagagamit natin at the present times, at the present operations, dahil yun yung mismo kailangan para mag-operate quickly, mag-operate or mag-resume ang operations ng isang negosyo. Ang pinagkaiba ng recovery time objective at recovery point objective, sa recovery time, pinag-uusapan natin yung oras. Gaano katagal ang iintayin bago makabalik sa business operations because of a sudden loss. And when we talk about recovery point objective, we are dealing with the age of data that is still acceptable, that is still useful, no, for the business operations. Nakuha yung pinagkaiba. Malaki yung difference nilang dalawa. Though one term lang yung pinagkaiba, time and point. Pero malaki yung difference sa definition. Nakukuha po, everybody. Nakukuha po. Yan. So, that is the second content of BCM framework. First is the policies and strategies. Second one is the business impact assessment. So, dalawa na yung laman ng BCM framework natin. Yan. Pangatlo ay risk assessment. Risk assessment. Sabi naman dito sa risk assessment, it identifies the broad array of risks that could impact or threaten the enterprise. Sa tingin nyo, bakit? Bakit makailangan nating i-assess ang risk? Anong importance ng risk assessment kapag naka-experience tayo ng disruption or calamities? Sabi dito, identifies the broad array of risks that could impact or threaten the enterprise. Yes, Kevin.
Okay, pwede na natin siyang i-integrate since magkakasama na ang in terms of BP at ang Y at terms of okay. So, dito, makikita natin dito just ito is factor. So,
okay, good thing. Thank you. Yes, Pao, and next si Deo. Nice, okay. Okay, thank you, Pao. Next natin si Deo. Alright. Yan, may any additionals pa? Yes, Trisha, meron pa bang i-share? Okay. So, thank you anak. Ayan, may sinabi dito sa in-call na to spot and reduce possible threats. Yan. That is also a good point. Meron pa bang additionals before I wrap up, no? Yan, to reduce losses, sabi ni Lance. Yan. So, thank you, no, for those students who shared their answers. All of those things are correct also, and your thoughts and insights is great. No? So, in this case, no, mga anak, sa risk assessment, marami kayong mga nabanggit na specifics. But the only thing that we think and consider why is it important to write a risk assessment is to reduce the loss. No, yun talaga yung reason. No, kasi when we talk about risk, that is potential threat. We are unsure if that risk will happen, but we will make sure, no, that we are ready, to face those risks, and we are well equipped. No, kasi kagaya nga ng sinabi ko, pag pinag-usapan natin ng risk, hindi tayo sigurado kung mangyayari, pero dapat handa tayo sa kung ano yung dapat gawin, just in case mangyari yun. And when we talk about assessment, no, pag sinabi natin yung assessment, hinihimay, pinag-aaralan yung risk. No, once again, there are lots of potential threat that we might face, no, if we became a part of any industries. Pwedeng environmental risk, pwedeng hazard risk, pwedeng political risk, financial risk, and so on. There are lots of risk, and through assessing it, through checking the potential threat that we might encounter, kaya rin natin makapag-isip ng plans, kaya natin makapag-isip ng strategies. Ano yung mga dapat natin gawing risk management things kapag na-experience natin yung mga risk na yun na nabanggit ko. No, so, the potential threats might include, no, ito daw yung mga posible, no, na risk na ma-experience ng mga business. Una is the impact of personal loss. Dahil nga we are dealing with disaster or calamities, it is possible, no, to lose people kasi hindi natin kontrolado yon. No, pangalawa, changes in consumer or customer preference. That is also a threat. No, kasi po pwede ngayon trip ng mga customers yung binibenta mo, the following weeks hindi na. So it is also a threat. Third is the internal agility and ability to respond to security incident with a plan. Yung hindi kahandaan. Yun. Ang haba na sinabi. Hindi kahandaan sa kung ano yung posibleng mangyari. Kalamidad, disaster, problema ng mga empleyado, internal agility, away ng mga employees. No, ayun yun. Yung potential threat din siya. And fourth one is financial volatility. Paggalaw ng pera. Mabilis mawala ang pera. Ayun, threat din yun. So, dahil nga sa business continuity management framework, we are outlining the plans. We are outlining the advanced preparation, even up to the extent of losing an employee. Dapat meron kang maisulat na dapat mong gawin. Kasi, wag naman natin, hypothetically speaking, nawala ang manager, nadaganan, nagkalindol, nadaganan ng pader, yumao, yung manager. Anong gagawin? Malaking epekto sa negosyo. Dahil lahat ng bagay siya may kabisado. Namatay. Ano gagawin natin? Pwede nating ipalit pansamantala yung assistant manager kasi baka mamaya fully aware din naman siya, or else mag-hire ng bago. Kasi hindi natin pwedeng baguhin yung reality na dapat mag-continue yung business kahit na may namatay. Pero malaking kawalan din yun kapag may namatay na empleyado kasi nga sila yung may alam nung ginagawa. No, so there are lots of potential threats, no, that we could consider. There are lots of risk na mas mapapag-aralan nyo yun eventually sa mga succeeding subjects nyo kung meron kayong risk management na subject in the future. Nagulat ako na there are 15 risk na akala ko pareho lang yung investment risk sa financial risk, yet magkaiba sila. Pero lahat ng yun, dapat napapaghandaan sa pagsusulat natin ng BCM framework. So, yun lang naman yung dito sa risk assessment. Be prepared, no, of whatever the risk that we might encounter, most especially sa mga threat na nabanggit. Kapag nawalan kayo ng empleyado, kapag nagbago yung preference ng consumers, kapag merong internal agility, away sa loob at hindi pagkakaunawaan, at saka, kapag ang bilis ng galaw ng pera, that is also a threat. Dapat nagagawan din siya ng plano. So, yun naman yung sa risk assessment. Yan. So, addition to this, sa risk assessment, the organization needs to determine the probability of each risk happening and the potential impact of each one, determine what its risk tolerance is for each potentiality, and evaluate as to which risk will be addressed first. No, so, nabanggit kanina ni Pauline, hanggang kailan kayang i-endure? Hanggang kailan kayang i-tolerate? So, yung mga risk na nabanggit yan kanina. And sinasabi natin dito sa risk assessment na, syempre, prioritize first what is needed to be done first. Ganun naman talaga. No, kasi kung kailangan ng isalba tong isa, itong risk na to, si risk number 1, or sabihin na natin there are 15 risks, and the first thing that we should make a solution is the risk 3. Kahit na sabihin mo pangatlong risk natin siya na-receive, pero siya yung unang-unang dapat gawa ng solusyon, dapat siya yung mauna. We should know what should address first. No, kasi once again, iba-iba yung klase ng risk. Pwedeng yung risk ay ipagpabukas pa ang pag-iisip ng solusyon. Pero may mga klaseng risk na dapat agaran. No, agaran yung solution. Kaya nabanggit din dito na dapat pag-aralan yung potential impact ng bawat risk. Low risk ba siya? High risk ba siya? Kapag sinabi na, syempre, when we talk about finances, high risk yun. Dahil pera ang dugo, no, ng negosyo. So, dapat considered siyang high risk. Pero may mga risk din naman na low risk lang na pwede nating solusyonan for a month, pwede nating solusyonan for quarter, or else pwedeng isang taon bago natin harapin. May mga ganong klaseng risk. No, and yan, nabanggit dyan yung tolerance, risk tolerance, which is, nasabi ko na rin naman kanina. No, so, nagigets po yung sa risk assessment, yung bakit siya importante. Nagets po, bakit siya importanteng kasama, no, ng business continuity framework. Ayan. So, fourth one is validation and testing. Sa validation and testing naman, sabi dito, the risk and their impacts need to be continuously monitored, measured, and tested. So, lahat ng mga naiisip natin na possible risk mitigation, yung mga naiisip natin na mga bagay na solution, no, kapag tayo ay naka-experience ng risk, dapat ay natetest natin and na-validate natin. So, like for example, sabihin na nating operational risk. Naka-experience tayo ng operational risk because meron tayong signal number 1 na bagyo ngayon. And environmental risk. We can consider also environmental risk. No, so, dahil nga possible, no, na ma-experience natin ang operational risk and environmental risk because of the typhoon, ano ba yung solution na naisip ng kumpanya? Una, mag-RTO pa din kapag signal number 1, as long as hindi nawawala yung kuryente. Baka yun, para rin magtuloy pa rin yung business operations. Kasi yung matter, no, na pinag-uusapan natin, no, sinabi natin na pwedeng ituloy ang report to office kahit na may bagyo. Kasi kailangan mag-continue yung gagawin. Risk mitigation number 2. Allow those employees who are having hard time traveling because of the flood. I-allow silang mag-work from home. Second, risk mitigation. Pangalawang solusyon na naisip nila. Pangatlo, in case of emergency at lumala ang bagyo at pagbaha, all employees are not required to work physically, and even on home. Pangatlong solusyon. O lahat ng yun, dapat na-validate and natetest.
Anong gagawin natin?
Paano siya natetest? E di kapag nangyari na may bagyo, tingnan natin kung ano yung effective dun sa pangatlo na yun, sa tatlong options na yun. Okay, so kahit pala bumabagyo, willing sila magtrabaho basta naka-work from home. Pwede i-implement nyo na kapag may bagyo, wag nang magpapasok sa office, mag-work from home na lang para safe ang lahat. Na-validate, na-test, nag-work, pwedeng ituloy. Kasi, yung disruption sa business operations ay wala. Kasi hindi naman talaga na-interrupt. Wala nga lang nasa office, pero may nagtatrabaho sa bahay. No, kaya sinabi dyan, impacts need to be continuously monitored, measured, and tested through validation and testing. No, and, yan. Next is the term incident identification. No, so, ito na pala yung panglima, no, sa content ng BCM framework, incident identification. So, sinasabi dito sa incident identification, events should be clearly described in policy documents as should, who, or what can trigger that an incident has occurred. Incident identification is somehow related to reporting. Report whatever happens, or report everything that happens on that specific incident. Kasi malinaw pa sa dokumento na dapat ang report ay hindi napapasinungalingan, lalo na kung ganito yung klaseng trahedya na possible no nakaharapin. No, like for example, nagkasunog. Uugatin yan. Ano yung cause ng sunog eh. So, lahat ng nangyari dun sa mismong sunog na yun, dapat clearly ay na-document. Ayan, describe in policy document as should, who, or what can trigger that an incident has occurred. Ang reason kung bakit kinakailangan nating i-report ng honest and clear yung incident, kasi sabi dyan, incident identification, it could be the way, that report could be the way to write a good policies and strategies, to write a good business impact assessment, to write a good risk assessment. Pwedeng maging basihan yung report na yun, paano tayo magkakaroon ng modification sa BCM framework. Pwedeng maging rason yung report na yun, paano magkakaroon ng changes sa mga policies and strategies na naisulat na natin. Kaya importanteng clear siya na isusulat. Na nagiging report lang, technically report. Paper. Tsaka natin siya i-store. Importante siya eh. That data could be used. The content of that incident identification report could be used to write a good policies and strategies that could help the business to create a good BCM framework. So, yun yung importance ng incident identification. So, once again, there are 5 contents of BCM framework. Those are policies and strategies, business impact assessment, risk assessment, validation and testing, and incident identification. So, we discussed each thoroughly. We define each thoroughly. So, I do hope na nagets nyo lahat kung ano yung differences nitong 5 na to at bakit siya importanteng content ng BCM framework. And, yan, we will end this discussion with these two terms. With these two terms. Sabi natin dun sa huling learning objectives natin, we should differentiate what is business continuity, or what is the difference between business continuity and disaster recovery. Kasi kanina pa natin pinag-uusapan yung business continuity. Tungkol saan nga ba siya? Diba sabi natin, advanced planning. So kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung business continuity, that is the overarching plans that guide operation and establish policy. Broad planning or broader planning, overarching, pinakamalaking plano. The business continuity is the largest plan, the overall plans that the business is writing or the business has been drafting or crafting for the sake of the whole business to still operate despite experiencing disasters and calamities. However, when we talk about disaster recovery, what happens when an incident occurs? About specific incident responses. Kung yung business continuity ay yung malaking plano, yung disaster recovery, ano yung specific na plano nung ginawa natin na nakalagay sa BC or nakalagay sa BCM framework? Like for example, di ba ang content ng BCM framework ay 5. No, business uptime policies and strategies, etc., etc. Sa disaster recovery, ano yung specific na ginawa natin nung naka-experience tayo ng disaster? Meron tayong business continuity management framework when we experience typhoon. Sa disaster recovery, signal number 2, nag-work from home. About specific incident responses. The specific thing that we do, disaster recovery ang tawag. Yung overarching na plano, yung malaking plano, yung broader na plano, ang tawag ay business continuity. So, sa madaling salita, business continuity, ang libro, disaster recovery, ang bawat chapter. Nagigets po? Nagigets everyone? Business continuity is the full book. Disaster recovery is the chapters of the book. Overarching plans, the broader plans. Disaster recovery is the specific plans. Yun po yung difference nilang dalawa. Nagigets po everyone? You can react anything. So that ends up my discussion in the 4th unit of BPO. No? So yun po yung coverage ng business continuity management. Meron po ba kayong questions, clarification, violent reactions sa discussion? Everyone, itanong po ba? You can react hard or dislike if wala namang questions. So I will end my recording. And thank you. So I'll stop recording this. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and I do hope that all of the things written in this unit is discussed clearly on your end, kahit na medyo nagtotoyo yung earphones. Ayan.